To the winds of the east, great eagle condor, come to us from the place of the rising sun. Keep us under your wing and show us the mountains that we only dare to dream of. Teach us to fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit. To the winds of the south, great serpent, wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed the past, the way you shed your skin, to walk softly on the earth. Teach us the beauty way. The winds of the west, Mother Jaguar, protect our medicine space. Teach us the way of peace, to live impeccably. Show us the way beyond death. To the winds of the north, hummingbird, grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, come and warm your hands by our fires. Whisper to us in the wind. We honor you who have come before us, and you who will come after us, our children's children. Mother Earth, we have gathered for the honoring of all of your children. The stone people, the plant people, the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy crawlers, the finned, the furred, and the winged ones, all our relations. Father, Son, Grandmother Moon to the star nations, Great Spirit, you who were known by 1,000 names, and you who are the unnameable one. Thank you for bringing us together today and allowing us to sing the song of life. This is a meditation in the Arcturian temple of Tomar, and it is to purify our souls, and it is adapted from a meditation presented by Tomar in April of 2020. We acknowledge the original caretakers of this land, the First Nations people, and we pay our respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. Could we all please make the following declaration? Mother Earth, I am a planetary healer, and I am here to assist to bring you back into balance. Let us recalibrate our aura into the shape of the cosmic egg. And we ask Juliano to send quantum omega light to coat our cosmic egg with a new light. Take a moment now to receive and feel this light shaping your cosmic egg. Please take a moment now to connect to the sixth sphere in the middle of the Arcturian tree of life. This sphere is the Montserrat crystal, and it represents balance, harmony, and sacred messianic energy. Sananda Jesus is our guide as we go into a deeper state of higher consciousness. Juliano now sends down the violet Arcturian light, and he distributes it to each of us. This quantum light will enable us to accelerate this group's consciousness energy, cohesiveness, and coherency. This light will help us to utilize in a higher light all of the Arcturian spiritual planetary tools. Oh. Now, take 3 deep breaths and go into a deeper state of relaxation and a deeper state of higher spiritual energy and high spiritual abilities. Abilities that perhaps are beyond your normal self, because you're tuning into your higher abilities and your higher self. You are experiencing a higher aura or a more expanded aura. Tomar comes down now and brings his golden corridor of light into your room, which is directly linked to his temple on the 5th dimension. Now command your aura, your etheric body, to gently rise out of your crown chakra. Visualize your aura, your spirit, rising out of your crown chakra and going up this golden corridor connected to Tomar's temple. So travel now through this corridor to the temple on the 5th dimensional planet of Arcturus. As you complete your journey through this golden corridor, you come into a beautiful garden-like area and you see this huge white temple. Perhaps you could visualize this temple as the Taj Mahal or a beautiful synagogue or church. It gives you a sense of sacredness and holiness, and it is surrounded in beautiful white light. There is a purity of sunlight. There is a purity and clarity of light. There are a few steps, and you go up the steps and into the entrance and open the door as we all gather together. And as you enter the temple, there is even more brilliant white healing light, and you feel bathed in this wonderful harmonic balancing white light. Tomar is in the center of the room that is like a circle. The chairs in the room are elevated like a Greek theater, and where you are sitting around the center. Tomar now sends you greetings and love to your heart and your energy. In the center is also a special pond of water, but it is a purification water, and we will look and be working with that water. Now, take a comfortable seat around the theater-like temple area. There are several students with Tomar, and they are there to help you. You are now sitting comfortably, enjoying the light, enjoying this feeling of comfort in being in Tomar's temple. Now, exactly where you are, Tomar places around you a special chamber, a purification chamber that will assist you in your work today. There is a higher spiritual energy in this chamber that will help you in your purification. Feel that purifying energy now. Oh, and let us just remain in silence for a brief time as you integrate, calibrate, and adjust to the chamber and the intense spiritual purifying that light in it. You feel a sense of joy and happiness with this opportunity. And you feel strength that perhaps you do not usually feel to look at your emotional body. This beautiful chamber that you are in also has a computer-like screen in front of you. Now, think of any past life that you might be aware of. Any past life where you were carrying the burden of an injustice that was done to you. It could have been on a battlefield. It could have been in any circumstance that you can imagine, because one thing that we can say about the earth, there are certainly plenty of opportunities to have injustice done to you. There is no lack of opportunity to experience suffering on the earth. So any awareness that you have of a past life when you were suffering or had an injustice, bring that forward now. So any awareness that you have of a past life where you were suffering or had an injustice, forgive them and release it now. And so it is released. And receive the purification light to restore your vitality and your essence now. Receive the purity of light, the purification now. The second part of this exercise is for your emotional purification. This might be even more difficult because it is possible that you have hurt other people. It is possible that in your going through this lifetime on Earth, there might have been periods of time where you were in lower consciousness. And it may be that there were times that you hurt someone else. See if those times come up for you on an etheric level, on an energetic level. You need to ask for forgiveness from that person energetically. And you want to be released of any karmic attachments to them. So anytime or any examples that you come up with where you have hurt other people, you are also asking for a purity clarification, release, and asking for forgiveness energetically at this time. Remember, this will not result in you having to repair a relationship. We are just purifying ourselves. So do that process now for anyone that you may have hurt. Now you receive the bathing of light from the chamber of spiritual purification. You are releasing all attachments from pain, either you received or pain that you may have caused to others. And already each one of you is becoming lighter, whiter, and brighter from that purity. Now, for the last part of this purification exercise, we are going to purify your energy field in a way that will help you to purify your physical body on the earth. So the chambers are removed, and you are sitting freely in this theater-like setting around the temple. Tomar invites you to come down into the pond, in the center of the theater. The water in the pond is only waist deep, yet it is a special purity of water, a special healing water. So come down now and join Tomar and the other Arcturian friends as you step into this purity of water that will accelerate any physical problems you have and help you to remove any attachments and help you to heal any part of yourself now. Enter the water and feel and gather the healing energies for your physical body now. We will go into silence. This is a purification light in water on all levels. It helps to continue the purification of your notional body, but it is also filling up your aura with a special purity of light, a purification that you will bring back into your physical body at the end of this exercise. Tomar is assisting each of you now to go into greater purity when you are in this ritual purification energy that you are prepared for the ascension. This is one of the most important tools for your ascension journey, to be purified. And you have all done a very good job today. So release any impurities in your energy field that you may need to release. And when you are ready, go back into your regular seat, leaving the pond and enjoying the special purification light and energy work that you have done. So let us prepare now for our journey back. This purity of light, this healing on your physical and emotional bodies is with you now, and you have become familiar with my temple and healing purification chambers. Stand up and prepare to leave the temple. So walk out of the room of the temple and walk out into the garden in front of the temple. And you can still see this beautiful white light around it. And you are also in this white light. There are no attachments whatsoever on you, and you are in a higher energy and higher light. And there in front of you is Tomar's golden corridor for your journey back. Step into this corridor now and travel back to your physical bodies on the third dimension with this higher purity. Traveling now at the speed of thought, and you are arriving in your room. You are 6 feet above your physical body. Re-enter now in perfect alignment, bringing this total purification, especially to your physical body now. You have gained a new understanding of purity and purification, and you are now in a new position, a new light, a new healing, a new openness, a new reset, a new energy of purity that will help you on your ascension process. May you integrate this energy in the highest possible way. Tomar sends his love, his deepest respect, his support, encouragement, and he honors each one of you for your willingness to experience the purification in the temple. And please know that you are welcome to come back at any time, for it is possible that on your path, as you continue on the earth, there might be other things that need to be released. And so it shall be.
And so it is.
Right.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. That's a great meditation.
You can unmute yourself. It was good. What did you experience, Francine?
Well, I was definitely there. You know, I saw a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of past life stuff. I do a lot of past life work anyways. It was easier to know what was done to me and that, as opposed to what I did to people. But I did see, you know, some killing that I did and other stuff. But, you know, saw a lot of energy coming at me so I just let the visions sort of do what they wanted to do. And it was good. You know, I was just right there, you know, and I thought it was well worth the journey.
Yeah.
So
it was powerful. Mike?
Great piece. In 2019, I participated in 9 forgiveness ceremonies and led 7 of those 9. So forgiveness, I always find a little bit more. It's kind of like peeling the onion, but it was more just about great peace.
could you experience the journey as you were talking?
To some degree, I when we went to the forgiveness part, I'm kind of with Mike. I didn't find a past life that I needed to forgive. There's plenty of past lives that I've dealt with, but I found a present life that I thought I had forgiven. And obviously I was peeling the onion on that one. And it was sort of like in my mind, I was going, whoops, I thought I dealt with this, but apparently I had not. So that was really good. I was able to release that. And then the harm that I've done to other people, I mean, the warrior energy, not just in this lifetime, but in previous lifetimes, that came up. But the harm was more in my current relationship with my wife. You know, that we have 31 years of marriage, and we're celebrating anniversary Wednesday, but we've had our ups and downs. And, you know, a lot of it was when I was in the military, my military service, I was just gone all the time. So there's a lot of rough patches and a lot of hard times. So there was obviously things that I needed to ask for forgiveness for. I had things that I hadn't told her, or some things I hadn't told her. I still have that I've kept from her that I need to probably talk to her about. Nothing really bad, just things that I had the tendency to keep things in. And that was really something I had to learn to deal with. You know, not to hide things, but more to, you know, I didn't want her to worry. She worries a lot. So I kept things in. I haven't been truthful with her about some things. So that was important. And then physically, I felt like diving into the pond instead of just walking. You know, I need to, but it felt good to be there. And it was really nice to feel the energy clearing what needed to be cleared. And, you know, the other thing is, I'll be honest with you, I'm so fortunate that I don't have any major issues like a lot of people. You know, compared to a lot of people, I'm just clearing things that are minor. I mean, they're not minor in a sense that I'm minimizing it, but they are, in all things in perspective, they're not as bad as I'm grateful for that would help. So physically, it was really pretty pleased. But I have stuff I need to deal with. Old age.
I have stuff I haven't told my daughter. you know,
yeah.
I don't know if I ever will. You know, there's a lot of secrets we have that even though I'm really close to my daughter, you know, and I birthed her and raised her, there's still stuff that I don't tell her, you know, and you know, but it's all good. You know, I found in the water, I realized that I was really working. I've had a lot of trouble with always injuring my right leg, my moving forward leg, you know, and I haven't been able to really work with it and get it resolved this time with the sciatic nerve and the nerve pain going down my right leg. And I'm like, oh, let me just sit in this water. I wanted to just submerge myself too and just, you know, do more healing on this concept of, you know, why my right side has always been injured, you know, and it has less strength and there are days where I'm walking and I just have to stop because the pain is so intense. And so, you know, it's challenging and yet it's part of the journey. So I've been through this quite a few times, but I'm going through it again. So, you know, just let it happen. So,
How about you, Ariana? Did you have any experience?
I feel like I've been hit by a train.
Really?
So the body's all icky. This is my third time I did this meditation, and gets deeper and deeper every time.
Mm-hmm.
As Mike said, there's just layers and layers to the forgiveness.
Lakota, they don't have a direct translation of the word forgiveness. There's no word for word. It would be translated as awakening to your own sacred divinity. So there's no room for unforgiveness. And I like that. That's really what I think I aspire to, is just being in my divinity. And then it's all the way it should be.
Yeah, it's almost like there's nothing to forgive, right?
Right, exactly.
Because you forgive yourself, I mean, there's nothing to forgive.
One thing with my daughter and I have been doing major over the years, past lives. And one thing we found was that we could go back into the past lives using one major method that I've learned a long time ago. And she's an indigo. She's got incredible abilities to do this. And we realized that every time we did that and saw that, and she would come back out, and I would say, or I would do it with other people too. And I would say, okay, well, what do you need to do in order to go back in and clear all that? And, you know, we found that because it's not linear, it's all simultaneous, all these lives, everything that we've lived on this earth is simultaneous. And so it affects us. And as we clear something, you know, like the fact that she basically was the one that started the war between the Army and the Native Americans. You know, she was a private in the Army, and they bribed her to, you know, to kill the general or somebody in the peace conference. And they went back and said, oh, she, you know, and so we started fighting, and we had to clear all that. And, you know, we went to the Grand Canyon and had to she had to clear a whole lifetime sitting right at the Grand Canyon for a half an hour. And then this rainstorm came up, and we couldn't even get to the car. It just took out half of the bridges and all this stuff. And, you know, it's just like, and they said, well, we've been waiting 200 years for you to get here to clear this out, you know? And so, you know, and so it's all relative to everything that we've done. You know, we get to clear that energy right now, anytime we can. And it changes, it not only changes us, but it neutralizes basically a lot of that, what we did, you know, and what we experienced. And so we found it's always been very helpful, you know. So she's rebelling at the moment, not wanting to do this work with her family and her, you know. The last time she did something, she went in to look at her 11-year-old grandson, maybe it was a year ago, or her son. And she came out and said, oh, Mom, he was a good guy, but he was also a bad guy. She saw so many of his lifetimes, and she just, you know, so sometimes you don't really want to see all that, but she got to see a lot of that, of who he was.
Wow.
But at the same time, the old trees back in New York told her to go stand in she was 15, stand in an area there in a big vortex. And they showed her all the lifetimes that she had with her father, and it healed her relationship with him. And they just had a whole different relationship after that. They said, we're giving you a gift. So, you know, I could write books, but that whole concept of being able to just neutralize what we've done just by recognizing and without any judgment, just having compassion for everybody that was involved in the situations. You know, you just have to go with compassion. So, you know, it's it's just our work. It's just our mission and our work, and you know, and it does make a difference. You know, she's run into so many people that, you know, I had a friend who taught me to do some of this work, but something a little different. And she said once she went into a whole group of people and everybody held their heart because she had killed them all. and she was aware of that, you know?
My God, that must have been a real shock for her to be in that group.
Oh yeah, oh my God, she was a trip too, you know, an incredible woman who's no longer here. Last time I heard, she wanted to come back because she said it was so beautiful here that she missed it, you know, and that was only a couple of years ago that she left. So yeah, you know, we've done some interesting stuff in our lifetime. We've probably done it all. You know.
So there's a reason why we don't remember it all, because it could be
probably right. Yeah, we've been the perpetrator and the victim, right, in all these lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, one thing they did tell us and tell me is that if the light holders that are here now, we were taken over by the dark many times, and we were searched out because there were so few of us at various times on the planet, but we were never of the dark. We never were dark. We were always light. We were just a lot of times taken over by the dark because it was part of our journey. So just understanding that we were never of the dark, and we were never of that darkness. We just, you know, succumbed to the dark. That, you know, it made a big difference understanding that part, because I would always think, oh, I had a lifetime where I was evil and this and that and everything. Well, maybe, but not quite the way I imagined it. It was, they just said, you know, we came down here all these lifetimes, you know, we were part of the light. It was just very difficult. You know, I was a Rosicrucian once and lived in the caves. I was in a scene and, you know, got tired of living in a cave and went out and said, I'm going to just go out and be, and they killed me, you know, and, you know, and I was light, but it was very difficult at those many, many, many lifetimes to shine our light, because they didn't like that, you know, so, but we weren't of the dark itself. That's not who we were. So
yeah,
it's all good. So
okay. Well, thank you, Bob, for leading.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad I could make it. We had, I stopped counting after 10. We had 10 abrupt power surges in today because of the winds. So.
I'm glad you survived.
Survived, yeah.
Roof is still there.
Yeah, oh, we got a house that's built like Fort Knox. It's a fortified house up on 20 feet above the ground. So it's made out of cement. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. So we went through a hurricane. We went to 2 hurricanes back in the 1990s, and we were living in Florida, and our house got trashed. And so when we came out here, we really wanted to make sure that we had something standing when we left. So, you know, we're pretty happy that we have this very, very strong house. We can hardly hear the wind. But,
you know, they did say that some of those transformers that went down in New Orleans had not gone down during Katrina.
Right.
They were standing after that, but this time it just took them down.
Yeah, they said there was a wind gust of 172 miles an hour in New Orleans yesterday. So can you imagine?
I can't.
Nothing's going to stand up.
It'll be up to 200 pretty soon. I mean, what are we going to do when it gets up to 200 miles an hour? Are we going to be able to?
You know, Francine, they've had tropical cyclones in the Pacific that have reached 210, 220 miles an hour. I think those are gusts, not sustained winds. Yeah, I mean, the intensity levels, this is the thing that's kind of scary. The intensity levels getting higher every time. The strength of the hurricane, and then they develop their own weather system. You know, they wobble. Our greatest fear was, you know, we were watching that track and they had us a lot of certainty, but we've had so many experiences here where the hurricane sort of slows down and it starts wobbling. And then it goes to the right or to the left. If it goes to the right or left, maybe, 20, 30 miles, it can make a big deal, difference on the outcome. So, so we're kind of praying, going, okay.
I was praying for you.
We don't wish anything on anybody. Believe me. You know, we have neighbors next door who live in Louisiana. They live in Lake Charles. So, and they were out here and they were going back to their house, knowing that, you know, they've been through 3 of them last year, and they had a lot of damage. And they're going to go to their house, which was interesting. They're going to hang in their house with no power, you know, for 3 or 4 days, maybe a week. I mean,
They're talking up to 3 weeks in New Orleans without power.
Yeah. So it's,
God, you know.
And with this heat out here, you know, it's unbelievable. Really, it's a major distress when you're.
No food, no power, no electricity, no way to. Nothing's open. I don't know how. I guess they're just going to have to sing their way through this one again. You know, I don't know. You know. Well, I did send my prayers to you.
Thank you. You know, the last 2 weeks we've been in our Fairhope group. We've been doing it on biorelativity, hurricane exercises. So, yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, it
seems like we do.
Yeah,
it.
but you feel bad if you send it that way, or if you send it that way. You know.
But we don't ask for that. We ask for the
right, the highest and best for everybody.
Minimal loss of life, which is good. And you know, so okay, we'll see you. Take care. It's good to see everybody. Thank you, Ariana.
Bye bye.
Good to see you. Bye bye.